Welcome to Momz of Paintball. Again, we are at episode 7. We are so glad you guys are here to watch. We got a lot to talk about today. We are just coming off of the second USXBL, which took place last week at Giant Sports in, is it Allen?
Parker,
thank you. And guess what? We're back here at the field and everyone's practicing for NXL, which is in 3 weeks. So we are in the thick of tournament season. There's not a lot of downtime. But yeah, we wanted to kind of give our own sort of recap of USXBL and what we thought. So I'm going to kind of get your guys' thoughts.
So this was my first time being at this venue, and I was really impressed.
Yeah.
It's a very nice complex. So they have 4 speedball fields, and then they have a whole side that's dedicated to rec players.
Yeah.
And it was clean. Everything looked fresh. The layout, the fields were close together, so there wasn't a whole lot of walking. I think the only downside was the bathrooms were kind of far.
They were a hike.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, okay, maybe not a hike, like, let me not be dramatic, but it was.
You can be dramatic.
Okay, you're allowed.
It's fine.
Like the fields were here, and then you had to go through fields 1 and 2, and then they were out here, kind of by the parking
They
lot.
were near the parking lot.
They were
Yeah.
near the parking lot, so
The
like,
paint truck.
yes. And so the parking lot was here, and then the bathrooms, and then like the paint truck, and then all the fields were here. So if you were on this field over here,
It kind of
kind
felt
of
like
like
the
a-
bathrooms were outside the venue almost.
they were.
Yeah.
Like they really were.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like pea gravel and rock and whatnot, which is great because it's not muddy, it's not dusty.
Yeah.
However, it is very difficult to push your equipment along there. So I don't
Yeah,
know,
anything with
Like
big
a
tires.
massive tank cooler.
a massive tank cooler that our dads are so proud of.
They
They
love
love
it.
that thing. And it holds a lot of paint. It's great. However, when you're trying to shove it across rock,
You'll see it in our latest Mom Pod.
yes, if you look at that. So like the rock was not fun to drag stuff across.
Yeah.
But
But it kept the park nice.
it did
Yeah,
keep the
it
park
looked
nice.
nice.
They had a lot of like tables with the covered shades over the top of them. There were
Great
spots.
seating to watch.
Yes.
Especially being able to, we loved is like being able to watch both sides of the field. So being able to watch the Dorito side and then the snake side. That's awesome.
Yes,
Love
because
that.
most of the time, all you see is the snake side.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
the fields, are usually set up next to
can't
each other,
get
you
onto
can't
it.
go over or around.
Yeah.
And the bleachers were nice.
yes.
To have the bleachers was nice. I mean, I didn't sit on them, I stood.
Neither.
But
Yeah.
So I was over working in the pits doing the paint. So even though I would have had the opportunity to go over there, I just didn't because
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
But it was nice that you could. And
Yeah.
the only kind of on that was the 2 fields that butted up next to each other.
field 1 and
tight.
2.
Yes. So whenever we were trying to get through to get our stuff to the pits, because our equipment is a little bit larger than
Yeah.
some teams, it was kind of
little
tight with
heftier.
all the people standing on either side
Yeah.
watching.
But the
Gets a little
pitting
tight.
area, like away from the fields, for us to kind of,
Like to set
hang
up
out.
tents?
Yeah, to set up and hang out. There was a lot more room.
Yeah.
So, like previous tournaments that we have gone to, it did not have that space. Like you kind of felt tight. Like everybody
Yeah.
was kind of underneath the pitting area.
Yeah.
So everybody was fighting to get under there. But here, this time it was a lot more room. Like
You could bring your own tent, your
breathe.
tables.
Like the dads had a chance to pull out the little blow up beds and sleep.
Sleep a
You'll
little,
see that
relax
at
a
Mom
little.
Pod.
yeah.
The kids even had fun, like, hanging out and sleeping
Yeah.
on those. But, I mean, it was nice, other than having to maybe hike to the
the
bathrooms.
bathrooms.
But
Yeah.
the bathrooms were nice.
The
they were
bathrooms
clean.
were clean. I
Yeah.
never saw a dirty
seemed
bathroom.
to be nasty. I mean, there seemed to be plenty of bathrooms
Yeah.
to use. It wasn't like 1 or 2 or what here.
Yeah, and I will say Mark and is it Scott? Is that his?
Billy.
Billy.
Yeah.
They have really done a great job with the park.
Yes.
I mean, they had workers out there the whole time. They were keeping the trash picked
Yeah.
up, keeping everything in order.
Yeah.
So I think it ran very well.
Yeah,
there
very,
was a
very
little bit
well.
of concern on Saturday because there was bad weather.
Only concern on
My concern is
tornado
my
warnings.
concern. Nobody else really seemed concerned, but they were saying there was going to be like hail and tornadoes and wind.
like,
and I'm
Good, we'll keep going.
Yeah, I asked them because I don't live in Dallas. You know, I'm further south in Texas. I'm like, what do y'all do? And
We're like-
and Kelly said, oh, you just sit in the car until it passes. I'm like, I ain't sitting in the car. I'm like looking around at all the projectiles around us. I'm like,
Like, oh, you stand out there with your phone and you record.
yeah.
Like,
I'm like, this. No.
Yeah.
So as soon as our match was over, it was like dark. It was
Yeah.
getting very dark, and it was like, okay, a mad dash to break down camp, throw
Yeah.
everything in the car, and
Yeah.
it sprinkled for like 2 seconds, and that was it.
that
I
was
was like,
like
that
that.
was. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful there was no
Yeah.
hail,
Yeah.
there was no no tornadoes.
Well, and especially, I mean, that park has been victim of
Yes.
some
Oh, yeah,
really,
we had
bad,
really
weather.
bad weather beforehand.
You know, months before there was I don't know if it actually was a tornado that went through, but it was
no, it's a
really, really bad
windstorm and
windstorm.
Yeah, the hailstorm.
did a lot of damage to Giant Sports, but they did such an incredible job getting it. Like you would never know.
I had no
You
idea.
would never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, you know.
and there's plenty of parking out there. They have
Yeah.
huge parking lots. I think I walked a mile just to get from our
lots of steps.
car.
Because y'all had the trailer.
We had the
so-
trailer, so it was
Yeah.
a little bit more difficult to park. You had
Yeah.
to kind of
Yeah.
scoot out of the way, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like at that facility, though, we really did need the trailer because we needed tables
Yeah.
and it was hot and humid.
Yeah.
So we always keep a cooler full of frog togs for the kids
Yeah.
to kind of cool off. I mean,
Yeah.
they were going
And
through.
in our latest Mom Pod, we did our best to kind of show you how we, you know, in a fun way, how we manage our pit area, you know, taking care of the kids, making sure that they're eating and drinking and taking their electrolytes. And I will say, as they've gotten a little older, I'm not suggesting that they're mature yet, but they are getting better at
Not arguing.
not arguing with us, not giving us as much pushback. And it could also be because we were right beside the fit tent, and when the pro team is there,
They
our
behave.
children tend,
I mean, they
tend
weren't-
to not get argumentative with us.
They weren't playing. Like the
No, yeah.
fit guys weren't playing. They were there, you know, working the booth and stuff and helping and
Yeah.
coaching other teams
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, they definitely come and keep an eye on the kids every
Yeah.
now and then.
Yeah.
But like for the electrolyte pills, like they were just
They
like,
were so good
I
about
was
it.
just like, okay, we need to take our pills, and then there would be one coming up. Oh, I haven't taken one. Like
Yeah.
I need one.
2
like,
years
I
ago,
can't take
we'd
it.
be running.
You were like
please
holding
take
them
this."
down, like as a
Even in
kid,
Tampa, they were like, I'm not taking those.
Like,
Yeah.
But how hot was Tampa?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was hot, but it wasn't humid.
Yeah.
This weekend was so humid.
Because you
Yeah,
had that
consistently
storm
humid.
coming
that was just
Yeah.
sitting over. yeah.
and it's just like looming and just that.
Yeah.
Like at one point,
Moisture
I
in the
went to
air,
the
it's just
car. We had like a 4-hour break
Oh, yeah.
between
Oh, yeah.
games. And I went to the car. I had a frog tog, like reclined the driver's seat, air full blast, frog tog on my face.
Looking like
I'm
you were having a facial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
Like
wrapped
a
the
facial
warm-
full
It
of
was awesome.
sweaty frog tog. I'm like, I'm dying. It
off
was
the
just so
children.
humid out there.
So the other thing about this event for our kids is because USXBL this season does not offer a youth division, our
Yeah.
kids team played D4 for the second time
Yes.
this year, which is something that we're sort of attempting to avoid because of points,
Not-
which we
maybe not avoid, but limit.
we're limiting. Yeah, that's a better word.
Yeah.
Better word for it.
Limiting their.
And and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, previous episodes where we've been talking about points a lot, and we decided we would probably go in a little bit more, and you do a very good job. You're much more versed than
Yeah.
I am in terms of
Same.
Somewhat.
how the points work and what they all mean in terms of how quickly you can rank up. So we do have this
We do have a
lovely-
little.
Our own Vanna White.
I'm going to be your Vanna White.
So really, with the divisions and rankings, we talk a lot about, you know, they're D2 or D3, or we don't want them to move up to D3. So just break it down a little bit so you can start it for the kids. They can start off in youth. A lot of different states don't have a youth. There is a youth division, but they don't have enough youth kids to say have that youth community.
Yeah.
So they start off either in the D6 or D5. But for youth, you have to be 16,
15 on January
15
1.
on January 1, and then D4 ranking or below to play any youth event.
So when you say D4, you're referring to the number of points that they have
Yes.
accumulated.
So the number of points they accumulate.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a hard
It's a
word.
mouthful.
And so the way they get points is every time they play a tournament, each place has a certain point value. So for youth, if they win a youth tournament, they get 100 points.
Okay.
And then that 100 points goes towards, ranking them up. So for D6, you have no points. That's usually our beginners. A lot of NXL does not have D6. It's a 3-man. It's really just beginner, get your feet wet, and kind of just so you can move on to
So if you're too
D5.
old to play youth, but you've
Yes.
never played paintball before,
Those
that
are
would be a
the
good place
ones,
to
yeah.
start.
Just to get your feet wet, just to
Okay.
and a lot of people don't stay in D6 very long.
Okay.
Because they usually point up to D5, and a lot of time if it's a serious team and they're playing a lot together, then they'll.
I mean, if it's 75 points, that's
Yeah.
only a couple of
It
tournaments.
doesn't
And
take
that-
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 75 points is within the season. So the season's like February to November. And then so within that season, if you get 75 points, you automatically move up to D5.
At that, like as soon as you get the
As soon
points,
as you
you
get
don't
the
get to
points,
finish the
no.
season.
So it can
You-
happen.
So like
Okay.
I'll just say for Hadley, if she points out of youth if she hits D3 during the season, say she points out D3 after Ohio, she won't get
She
to
won't
play.
get to play cup.
She won't get to play Texas. She won't get to play Cup.
Okay.
And so, as a youth player, she will be done like she's
Gotcha.
D3. She has too many points
Right.
to
Okay.
advance for the youth. So 75 points for in season, but then after season. So we're gonna say December to January.
That big long off season.
That little off season we got.
Sort of an off season. Yeah.
You can, if you have 20 points, then you're automatically pushed up to D5.
Okay.
So for D4, then it's
So there's like a point system within the point system.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for how they figure out your point system is how many ever tournaments you play. They will take your highest points from the tournament. Say you got 200 points, and then the rest of them were like 100, 100, 100.
Okay.
They will drop that 200 points,
Okay.
and then take the next 3 points. So then you'll have 300
Okay.
points.
And
So it's
that's highlighted in when you log into PB Leagues, and so you're looking at your kiddo or yourself. You'll see it right there. How they have it
Yeah.
categorized and color coded. So the black, anything that's black is what they're not included.
Yeah.
Correct. And then
So-
green.
Because oftentimes, like for a while there, I was like, how do I know how many points my kid has? And someone's like, well, log on to PB Leagues and go to his profile. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Yeah, and it'll tell you. And then it's really weird because in PB Leagues they have 2 point brackets. So
Yeah.
one is for
The
the
start of the
season,
season.
and then one is off season
right.
or the start of the season. Is
So it
that how
says
they-
current season
So the
and then
current
start
season,
of the
and
season.
then the
So
start
I
of
guess
the
like the
season.
end of last season
Yeah.
where
So
you're starting
and
this
that's
season.
that's how they decide your points. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
And then for D4, in season, they have to hit 300 points. So once they hit 300 points in D4 or D5, once they hit 300 points, they automatically turn to D4.
Right. Right.
And then same for D3, they had to hit 600 points. So for Hadley, if she hits 600 points during the season, she's going to be D3. She'll no longer be able to play youth.
Right.
And we're trying to keep the kids together. We don't want, say, 3 or 4 of them to hit D3 and not be able to play.
Because there is a little bit of leeway. They let you have, is it 2 D3 players
D3
on a
players.
D4 roster?
Yeah.
So if we have a couple of kids, that's fine. But if you've got 3 or 4, then either someone's going to have to miss a tournament, take turns, or you just
Yeah.
don't get to be on the
you're
team,
not
or
playing.
So that echoes to our coaching team is very, very hyper vigilant about how our kids' team is accumulating points this year. So which is the biggest motivator for our kids to consistently be playing in the youth and playing D4 only if there's
If the
really
points
no
allow,
other
yeah.
option. So that's why at USXBL they were playing Division 4. But obviously we're all this is kind of our kids' magic number that we're trying to avoid this year, 492. So when the season ends, we ideally don't want to have all of our kids.
Or even like half or like
half
Yeah,
of them.
just-
We want to avoid this number.
491 has been like
491
ingrained
is
into our
magic number.
brains.
Yeah.
Well, because we want to keep them together.
Yep.
Like the
Yeah,
whole
because
point,
they are a together team.
they're a together team. They're not like we're not trying to bring in grown.
Because in
folks.
D3, D4, D2, you can be however old. Like once you get out of youth,
Yeah.
the ages don't matter.
Yeah.
So you do see a lot of teams that will have, like their core players, but then they might bring in a D3, D2, whatever for tournaments that
Yeah.
you've never practiced with, just so you can say you won the tournament,
Yeah.
which what did you really win?
Yeah.
But, and that works for some teams. Like some people, you don't have a large enough community to practice together every
Yeah.
week or to
Yeah.
have a set team, and so you want to play and you jump
Yeah.
in with your buddies, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But for us, we're just trying to have that youth team that moves up together. And
yeah,
so like
yeah.
if I look, my kid right now has 365 points. So, that's only a couple more tournaments. I mean, if you win,
Yeah.
if you win the USXBL, you get 200 points.
200 points.
Right.
which
So-
Yeah. So being very, very
It
careful
is
of that.
easy to accumulate. I think what did they got? They got 152 points from USXBL last
Yeah, it's
weekend.
coming-
And that was coming in 11th
Yeah.
out of 39 teams.
So it's if it's important to be very diligent about watching the points if that's your team's goal. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna put this down now.
Well, and, I had asked one of our coaches, I was like, we're going to talk about points today. What would you say to a new mom or new dad to paintball? Like whenever you're saying be aware of your points, what would you say? And he's like, I would say points are bad.
Yeah, points
Stay
are
away
bad.
from the points.
Stay away from the points.
You don't want to accumulate points.
Yeah.
You want to play paintball in the division that you qualify for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Like you want to stay there and win.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, our coaches are very adamant. They don't want them just playing paintball. They want them winning
Right.
paintball. So.
And that echoes. There was a podcast a few months ago where Trenton was interviewed, and I think
yeah.
it was after they won Cup. I
Yes.
think. And if you haven't listened to it,
Maybe it was
excellent.
Tampa. I think it was Tampa.
Maybe it was Tampa. Yes, it was Tampa. And I can't remember which podcast it was on. I think
it was
Play the game.
Play the game. And Trenton did a really good job of just kind of honing in on that message of learn how to win in each one of your divisions. Don't move forward until you're ready to move forward. So with our kids and our the coaching team that we have and the vision that they have for them and the long-term goal that they have for them, it's all about monitoring those points.
And you can always go forward.
Yeah.
But once you get those points, you
Can't go
can't
back.
go back.
Can't go back.
And there are a lot of youth that have pointed out, and they're really wanting to be able to play with.
And
their
we'd love to have
community.
them play you.
for sure.
Yeah, we would love it.
But they just can't because they did play, or even for some of them don't have that choice to only play youth because
Right.
there's not a youth.
It doesn't exist.
And so
Yeah.
then they're building up those points. Or say like my kid did a 10-man or even played ICPL, and those points are different, and they get like a massive amount of points, which then just kind of builds. So you have to figure out a way for them to play without the points building up.
Right. You have to be very aware of it.
Yes, you've
Yeah.
got to
Or have a coaching staff that's aware of it.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, and we trust our coaching staff, and we know. I mean, they can literally they do it in their heads.
They do.
Like if we say, hey, what happens if this happens at this next tournament? They're like, do, and they're like, yep, this is what's going to happen. So this is what we're doing. And
Yeah.
So it's just being, and it's unfortunately, paintball is one of those sports. There's only a handful of sports that I think that are like this, that are driven, that growth is driven by points, where most youth sports are driven by age.
Yes.
So it's
you're in that age bracket
Right.
until the next year, and
Yeah.
it just moves up, and you're able to grow and move up
Right.
with everybody. But here it's
Yeah.
different because it's a mix of
Right.
adults and kids, and you can choose to move up
Yeah.
really, really fast, and it's not even like doesn't really matter if you learn the skills.
Right. And then you can get over your head
And
and
then
over
you
your
can
head
get over
very
your head,
quickly.
Yeah.
and then
Over your skis,
either
yeah.
you're not playing, you're just riding the bench, or you get frustrated and then people quit and they're like, I don't want to, this is not fun anymore. And so we're trying to prevent that with our kids because we do want them all to stay together.
Well, and we're fortunate that our kids are so young. I mean, they're just now starting high school or just finishing freshman year of high school. So we do have a few more years. I could see, like this works for our team.
Yes.
Right.
If you have, a junior in high school and you're just starting, you might be like, you know what, I'm just going to make as fast as run as I can, do as well as I can, because after high school, I'm focusing on other things.
Right.
You might be going to college or work or whatever.
Totally.
So,
So I mean, on the flip side, this platform and the process that our kids are going through might not be for everybody.
Right.
It just so happens to be the vision and the journey that our kids are on, being a part of this community. So so that's points. So in 3 weeks we have NXL.
Yes.
Which then our kids will be playing youth.
Together.
Which
all
is
of our team.
Super excited. Yeah, everyone's going together.
And that's a special little nugget for you if you're watching our podcast because we're not registered.
All going to Cincinnati together.
But we will. Mama Bears here have all decided the band is together.
It's nice because now the kids are all out of school, so we're not concerned about kids missing school and that kind of stuff. We're in the break season now, so everyone's going. So Cincinnati will be fun. We've got all but one player because one kiddo on our team is spending some time with family. So
that'll be really good because we only had 6 in Atlantic City. And
that was
Saturday morning it was stressful. You just never know with these kids.
We were 6, but you know what? Went down to 5.
I tell you what, Kelly did a great job at USXBL though, because on Friday, we had been there maybe 5 minutes, and she's like, "Have you checked in? Go to the registration booth."
You will see it again. I'm going to refer back to our latest mom pod. There's a note in our mom pod. We have a parent and a kiddo checking in. It is so important to check in the day before.
Yes, we will not make that mistake again.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. So, but we will have extra players. I don't know what the weather is like there. I know we were hot and humid, and we needed to sub some people in and out at USXBL. That's playing D4 youth, just playing 1 point. Depending on the schedule, it might not be as bad, but we will have plenty of players to pick from, and I always like it when they're all together.
I do too.
Yeah. It's fun. They always have fun on and off the field. It's just. It's crazy time.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the venue is going to be like.
Yeah.
You're
not going.
We haven't been there.
And you're not going either.
You're not going.
I have to work.
I'll be there. Another mom, Brittany, will be there, and then a bunch of dads will be there. So
I'm really interested to hear.
Keep
them in line.
Keep them in line. So the kids are back to playing youth in Cincinnati, and it's exciting because it seems like there's more youth teams that have registered.
And there's those 2 brackets.
And there's the two youth brackets now. So there's the advanced and the beginner, which is fabulous. I can't wait to watch. I'm going to cheer on the beginner youth team. Their division.
I'm very excited about this.
I can't wait to see them play.
My only worry is there's only 2 teams right now under the beginners.
Correct. So far.
So far. So I'm a little worried with that. I know with the advance, I was looking at the rosters, and there's a lot of teams that have maybe 1 or 2 kids that are D4, and then the rest are beginners,
or D5.
Don't even have points, and then maybe D5. So
they would have been eligible if they had
not
had those 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, if you have a beginner paintball youth team and you're thinking about it, this would be a great tournament to register for if it's close enough and feasible.
Yeah. And especially if you live in Texas, because that division breakdown will also be available at the NXL in Garland.
I wonder.
I hope.
Do we know if it's going to be there?
I
think this is a test.
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. I just assumed it was
a permanent change?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it being a test. So, and I was talking to another dad at USXBL whose kiddo has played youth for a while, but actually qualifies to play in the beginner youth division, and he's super excited for it.
Good.
For Garland. So maybe he has already confirmed that it will be, but so just feedback to NXL if anyone's listening.
Yeah, I think
there are parents that are super excited about this.
Because we have a lot of youth down here in Texas.
There are.
Like a lot of beginner youth. And I know once USXBL took out youth, we were all kind of wondering, okay, now
what's going to happen
What
next?
are they going to do?
Right.
Yeah, I know XTPL still has youth, but it was just okay, what are y'all going to play? And so now I think for NXL adding this
That little
beginner
division.
line, that it's going to bring more,
Yeah.
especially in Texas. Definitely
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Texas.
I mean,
they're
because
gonna-
it never even occurred to us that places don't have youth because it
Yeah.
is so prevalent here.
It's like
Right.
huge here.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I had no clue there was no like
Yeah.
youth. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have youth? Like,
So yeah, we'll be taking lots of footage of NXL, but also tonight here at FIT is another global event, X-Ball Global event. If you haven't ever been to one, so much fun.
Yes.
So fun. So they started when it gets dark. The black lights go on. The paint all glows in the dark. The jerseys glow in the dark. I can actually see they have them set up behind us here. And they wear glow in the dark
beanies.
beanies.
Well, I think they were the white beanies, but
And then they allowed sideline coaching, which gets super comical.
It's just
It's
chaos.
really
you
fun.
got people climbing on the rafters,
It's
you know,
just
yelling,
a really
screaming.
good time.
So they split you up into lines that are drafted by the pro players at FIT. So you'll have a pro player from FIT on the sidelines yelling at you, but then they also kind of, the other team's players will also be yelling at you, telling you the wrong information.
It's
So it is hilarious, and they get into it. Like these pros don't like to lose, even if they're not on the field.
Yeah,
They don't
they're
like
competitive
to lose. So
at all times.
yeah, so if you get a chance, I mean, if you have time to come out here,
It's
you
so
definitely
fun.
should, especially like around New Year's, they do the fireworks.
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah.
fireworks.
And there's
I
always
think 4th of
music
July,
going, and they'll
too.
have food trucks, and it's just
It's a
really
huge party. It's just fun to hang out. Like the little kids enjoy it. Like I'll have Riley here with me. She's 5, and she'll run around. They have games. They have glow in the dark, like table tennis, glow in the dark bowling, all kinds of things for them to do.
It's really
you
fun.
know,
And
And
it's
for
just a
our
lot of
kids,
fun.
it's really just another practice
Practice.
session,
Yes.
but
Yeah,
not
they-
so intense.
Yeah,
it's just
not
like a
so
low-key practice time.
And it's a really fun spectator event too, because you get a real kick out of the coaching and just the.
It's
the
one of my
energy.
favorite ones to
It's
watch.
Super fun, super fun. So
And
that
you-
happens tonight.
And you get to yell at people that
Yeah.
you don't even like.
Yeah.
Like I can yell at people, and even though I don't know like the bunkers or whatever, I'd be like, go to the triangle.
You can say what you want. Yeah. So
Give them
that's
fake bunkers to go to, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
that's happening tonight, and then next weekend, next Sunday is the
Super 7.
Super 7, which
That's
is
my
also
favorite.
yeah,
That
that's a
is my
great event.
favorite.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like it goes faster, but I don't
The
know
first,
how
so
it
the
goes
first Super
faster.
7, our kids were all together.
Yes.
The second Super 7, they split
split 'em
them
up.
into 2 lines. So I don't know what they'll do
This time.
but if you're in the area, you can register for it. You just register. They throw you on a line with 7 other people. You play round robin. You play each team, and the points, the scoring is based differently. It's like however many people you have alive at the end of the point,
Yeah.
and how long
Yeah.
it took to close out the point.
Yeah.
So it's a little.
And then so, because you said points, but I know you weren't talking about these.
Not
points.
talking about those points.
So with Glow and like MechX and 7-Man, those they don't have points like for like going towards your rank and things like that. So you can.
Those are just fun
it's,
events.
It's just a fun tournament that you can go out, have fun with your friends, or your team, and use it as a practice, and then it not
count against you.
count against
Yeah.
you in your ranking
Yeah.
and anything like that.
Yeah.
And for like the Glow Mech, they will draft you and put you on. They have 5-6 different lines,
I think so, yeah.
depending,
Yeah.
and then it'll go by your rank usually, or your ability on how to play.
Yeah.
And I know like our kids are usually on they usually put them up
Second or
like,
first
They
line,
usually
depending
put,
on who all's here.
Yeah, usually they'll put them up on a little bit higher line, but
Or they throw them out as refs.
yes,
Yes.
mine will be ref. Well, one of mine will be reffing.
Yeah.
She'll let anybody. she'll be
Anybody, anything goes.
The other thing with the
like-
glow ball too, though, is if you go to bed early, it does go late because of course they don't start until it gets dark. But it's still
Definitely
super
a
fun.
party.
Yeah, really really fun. So all of our
Yeah.
kids, all the kids that are here are playing or reffing tonight, and then back at it tomorrow morning.
Yep, bright and early tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
The grind never ends.
They're not grinding, especially when we're in the thick of it right now.
Yes.
The kids are out of school now. Summer break is in full effect, and so I think our lives are like all they want to do is
That's where they want to be.
live
Waiting
here,
for
camp fit.
So
So
you got the
At a
bunk beds.
bunkhouse, and
Yeah.
We got the bunk beds back here.
there are
you know,
apparently bunk beds over there in
Wow.
the shed, but
that's a little hot.
Yeah.
We need the air
That'll be all right.
conditioning.
So yeah, we'll next. Oh, one thing I did want to say, we're super excited about some upcoming episodes that we're gonna have. We've got some guests in the pipeline that are gonna be super fun. So
don't want to reveal everything, but
we're
yes.
excited to announce those soon. So yeah,
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yes, stay tuned.
And we do want to make sure we say thank you to our sponsors,
Yes.
Paintball
As
FIT,
always.
of course, for letting us invade their space every weekend.
Move tables and
Yes,
like, we
use
just
their electricity. Their
act like
all
it's
the
our
stuff.
home.
Yeah.
Always so supportive and encouraging. Also
Yep.
to Hydra Fit for outfitting our kiddos and
Yep.
making sure they are
And
taken
us.
care of, and us. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got the, all of it.
Yeah.
Also to Zach at Zeroed Media
Thank you,
for doing
Zach.
all the behind the scenes editing and kind of pulling together all of our chaos that we
And-
give to him every week, and
when
he
there's no
just
sound.
brings us back. Yes.
Does
bring-
such a good job.
Yes, he does
Yeah.
a great job. And then, of course, Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan, thank you.
We-
Shout out to Robert Jordan, our biggest fan.
Our biggest supporter.
number
We're gonna
one
take you up
fan.
on your.
Yeah, you're coming on.
coming
You're going to be a
on.
guest.
It'll
So
be
get
fun.
ready. Tell us what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So
It could be a long episode,
it might
but it'll
be.
be super
It'll be fun
entertaining.
for sure. I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's it for us. It's already about 1:30, so we're gonna go check on the kids, maybe take a little break before we're back here for Nightball, and we will see y'all again
you
next
soon.
time. Thanks.
Bye.